Right. Hi, friends. Hello, hello, friends. How are we tonight? It's good to see everyone. Q will be here shortly. She is chatting with a friend. So, we are going to dive right in to the Spinner's Book of Yarn Design. Tonight, I'm in Oklahoma City. I am just off of downtown at OK Cider Co. One of our favorite stops. We meet with the knitters around, or knitting around the city, yes. And so they meet here on Tuesday. There's Q. Hi, Q. Hang on, I'm going to add you on the stage. We are live. So here you go. You ready? I think she's ready, guys. Here she comes. There you are. Yay. We are live, Q. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Can you say something again, Q? No, I don't know. Wheel. Okay. I love when we have technology issues. Oh, unmute mic. You're muted, sweetie. Q, you're muted, honey. Your mic is muted.
There it is. There it is. There it is. Yay!
Okay.
All right. Jeez Louise, that was painful. In
It
that way, it
was.
was very fun, but all right. Yarning. Oops. Yarning.
Yes,
All right.
we are in Oklahoma City tonight. We are at the cidery, OK Cider Co. Over on Instagram, Ramble Inc. says
Ooh,
hello from OKC, and so yeah, we're happy to be here.
excellent.
Q is coming at you from home in Huntsville from the Owl House.
A yam.
So we were just gonna jump in and start chatting about the Spinner's Book of Yarn Designs.
Yep.
So,
Now, I seem
ooh,
to
it's all
recall
about
you
the
threatening.
twist, right?
Seem to recall you threatening me by telling me I had to do all the talking this week. I hope you've walked that back some, because I don't think anybody wants that.
Okay, well, I can do a lot of talking this week, but I'm ready.
All right, go for
Bring
it.
you
Start
closer
us
so
up.
I can hear you. Okay, so I think we talked about last week how my wheel was doing funny things
Yes, we
about
did.
spinning S and Z. So,
Okay.
so we read the first pages 6 through 18, I believe, of the book.
That's right.
And so it was all about the introduction, which was super fun.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked a lot about, using white for her chosen medium, and how she also talks a lot about being inspired by Grandma Moses and going to
Yeah.
see the exhibits there. How before she was a painter, because
Mm-hmm.
Grandma Moses didn't start painting until she was like 80 something.
That was amazing.
She did all of her creative outlet was crewel work or fancy work. So crewel embroidery. And it is a neat thought to think about. Well, if she'd had all these really cool yarns, like with the pigtails and with the coils and that kind of
Yep.
thing, like what would she have done with
Yep.
that and
Yep.
making her artistic pieces?
Yep.
So the one thing she does talk about in this book is that, is that
Katie, did your boots turn on your spinning wheel?
no, my thing's over here. I
Oh,
I
okay.
hit my elbow. Okay. So, no, my
Ow,
boobs
ow,
aren't that
carry
big
on.
anymore. We're good. Okay.
Well, you just leaned over and your wheel started. What do I know?
Yes,
Something I would do.
exactly. Oh,
Hmm.
Q, your thing is still doing that thing where it's like, hey, all the pretties are for sale.
Oh, for crying out loud. All right, let's go fix that. Hang
Hey,
on.
Jazz.
Oh,
Um,
boy. All right.
so,
I thought I got rid of that, but carry on. All right.
so, yeah. So it's just something to think about when you're thinking about um, going through this book. It's not a learn to spin book. It's a how to make us a better spinner, because we're all designers and we're all users of our materials.
Yep.
And so this is more about continuing your journey, not starting it, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I
oh,
agree with that.
Jazz says that she studied Grandma Moses in college.
Oh,
That is
dude.
really
Okay.
fascinating, Jess.
That is very
I'm just
cool.
so excited. We get to see Jess in a couple weeks, and I'm very excited about that. I haven't
Yay!
seen her
How
in a
is that
while.
happening?
I bet she might come see us in Texas when
Oh,
we
that
go to
would be
Fiber
really
Day
exciting.
or
Yeah.
Rogue's Game. We'll
So
see.
I'm actually very curious. When you studied Grandma Moses in college, did they was part of what you learned that she'd been a textile person? Because I did not know that at all. I was really surprised to learn that from this book. I mean, the number of things I don't know would feel like a lot of blank sheets of paper, but that I just did not know that.
I hadn't read that before either. I thought that was really interesting though.
Mm-hmm.
And I had when I did art history in college, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that for education,
Mm-hmm.
which art for education is a whole different game.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Jess says yes, that's when she learned all about Grandma Moses in
Okay.
college.
That is
So
super
yeah,
cool.
it's really fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
So the foundation of all of our spinning is all about the twist.
Mm-hmm.
So would you? Oh, Jess says they were also told she was a quilter.
Okay, I didn't know that either. So many things I
There you
don't
go.
know. A little time. Good to
That's
know. So,
So spinning is all about twist, and specifically S and Z twist, or counterclockwise and clockwise twist.
mhm.
Q, would you like to chat about some things about twist?
Sure. So twist, twist is quite key. Um, and the reason for that is if you, first of all, you don't have yarn unless you put twist in your fiber. If you want to make yarn, you have to put enough twist in the fibers that you're working with to have the fibers stay together. If you don't do that, what you have is a handful of pretty fiber that you're not going to be able to make into anything else as a spinner, or knitter or crocheter. Or another thing I was really struck by. Oh, very nice. Exactly. Another thing I was really struck by in this book, one of the first sets of pictures that she shows, is all of these different kinds of yarn related textile art forms that are not knitting or crochet that she has family members doing with handspun yarn. I have a tendency to think of handspun yarn as being, my brain goes to knitting and crochet, but she had tatting and Hardinger embroidery and a whole bunch of other beautiful things, which was fun because it expanded my idea of what you can aim your handspun at. But the first thing you have to do is put twist in it. You twist in your fiber. If you don't have twist in your fiber, you don't have yarn. Most of the time, what you're going to be doing is you're then going to be taking at least two, if not more, but assume two, of those yarns that you've twisted, collections of fiber you've twisted together, and twisting them together to make yarn. And so the first thing to remember about that is basically, regardless of which direction you spin, if you take your yarn and you put twist in it, and you make it into if you take fiber and you put twist into it and make it into yarn, which is called a singles. If you're making a 2-ply yarn, you're going to have 2 of those. You need to spin both of your singles in the same direction and then twist them together in the opposite direction. If you've ever twisted fringe, same principle. You're going to take a couple groups of fringe, twist them both in one direction, then twist the 2 of them in the other direction. If you don't do that, one of 2 things happens. If you're plying together a couple of singles and one of them is twisted one direction and one of them is twisted the other direction, when you go to twist them together, one of them is going to untwist completely, in all likelihood. Yes, good example. This is Katy's mystery bobbin of yarn, where at some point in the midst of plying it, that is the process of twisting the singles together, the wheel changed directions on her, which is not a desirable outcome. Although this is still a very desirable yarn, because here at Yarn Adventure Fiber Cat, we are all about all yarns having a home and a place and a thing that they can be. So this is totally a yarn I would work with. But the other thing is, if you are twisting both of your singles in one direction, which is the goal, then you want to twist them together the other direction. If you do not do that, if you take them and you twist them together the same direction you spun each component, you are going to have this fabulous, somewhere I actually have a picture of this I should turn up from somewhere. Basically, you're going to have a fabulous pile of, you should excuse the expression, kink. You're going to have a whole bunch of yarn that has just twisted itself into wonderful little curlicues and knots. And is that fun to weave with? Absolutely. Is it fun to work with? Sure. Is it likely, if you are knitting or crocheting with it, or for that matter, doing a number of these other art forms with it, to warp the textile because that excess energy, like some of this extra twist you can see in Katy's yarn here, is it likely if you use an over twisted yarn that it will twist the textile? Yes, it is. Less true if you're weaving it for physics reasons, or reasons that are physics. But So twist is actually super important. She gets into Sarah Anderson, the author of the book, also gets into why the angle of twist is important, not just the direction of twist, which is what's going to determine ultimately what angle you'll see if you look at your yarn, but also how acute or obtuse that angle is. That is mostly important if you are trying to make a whole, like a, I don't know why we always think in sweater quantities. It's not like there are not other things that require a large quantity of yarn. But let's talk about hand spinning a sweater quantity of yarn, which unless you have a behemoth of a wheel, is going to require you to have multiple bobbins worth of the yarn. So yes, for example, this absolutely stunning skein of yarn. Yes, my lovely assistant is showing you the stunning skein of yarn. So if you are making a whole quantity of yarn that you're going to make for a bigger project, it begins to be important to try to get those yarns to match in some ways so that you can work consistently throughout the project. And so that's the point at which you might want to look not only at what direction you're twisting things, but how acute or obtuse the angle of twist is. I do not pay very much attention to that myself as a spinner because I am almost entirely an intuitive kind of spinning for relaxation spinner, which is weird because mostly I'm a product person. But those are some things to think about with twist, both directionality and angle. Katie, did I hit the high points?
Yeah.
All right,
You did. Cool. One of the things I wanted to talk about was when she talked about twist and the angle of twist. The tighter the angle that you make that, the more acute. So, the more obtuse you make that angle. So, like the tighter those pieces become, like moving closer together. And so that means there's a lot more twist and the fibers are a lot closer together. They're going to produce something that is a lot more tight in hand, and it's also going to be a little more rough in your hand. So when and then she also talks about cable plying and how that also tends to make it more rough in hand. So this is Targhee, 100% Targhee, and this is cable plied, and you can see how much twist is in there.
Yeah, that's a lot of twist.
There's a lot of twist. I tend to over twist anyway, or I tend to twist a lot. This is from a bat.
That's a 2-ply, right? That's your Halloween bat. Yeah.
Yes. And you can see this one is a lot looser. It's a 2-ply. Can you see that? I don't know.
Yeah, you can see that. And you can also see the twist angle of what she's showing you. If you look at it in some places.
More laying flat. Yeah. This is a really well-balanced skein. So is this one. They're pretty balanced. When I let them loose, they hang fairly straight. Nothing is ever going to hang completely straight, and if it does, you're probably looking at something that's going to come untwisted as you work with it.
Yeah, that was the thing I learned. Yep, right. If you've got something that hangs entirely straight, when you take it off the wheel and you skein it up, if you can hold it from the top and it hangs straight down, it's actually probably a little underspun. The received wisdom, certainly what I learned as a spinner when I was first learning how to spin, was that that's kind of the platonic ideal, that what you want is a skein that when you hold it from the top, it just hangs straight down, and that means it's perfectly balanced. As it turns out, it's a little bit underspun in all likelihood. Most spinners do overspin a little bit. Most spinners who are at the start of our spinning journey will overspin a little because that's just that many of us are learning how to spin on a wheel that facilitates that, and a lot of us are inclined to hang on to our fiber in front of the orifice on the spinning wheel, which tends to increase the amount of spin. The only person I know who deliberately underspins, and she makes stunning yarn, and she teaches all over like the world. So obviously it works for her. I've seen her yarn, I've seen her spin, is Jillian Moreno. Who is a spinning teacher out of Michigan, who is lovely. If you ever have a chance to take a class with Jillian, she is a really lovely person, and she's a terrific teacher. And she deliberately underspins. I am an overspinner. I like extra twist.
Does she specifically overspin her ply?
Yeah, that's an interesting question that I don't remember the answer to, but I could probably ask her at some point. I don't remember. I just remember saying that she deliberately underspins her singles, which I thought was interesting. Yeah. I mean, I guess when you've been spinning for as long as she has, I think if I deliberately tried to underspin my singles, I'd probably wind up with a handful of fiber, but who knows? Anyway.
This one is also fairly well balanced.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
that's a gorgeous one. You can really see the angle of twist here because Katie's got such different colors in there. You can see that the twist in the plied yarn is going upper right to lower left, which is a Z twist. so called
Yep.
because the Z, if you imagine a Z in your head, the center piece of the Z angles from upper right to lower left, and that's a Z plied yarn. That's
This is a
beautiful.
Z plied
See,
yarn
there's
because
one
I
of
like to
them.
spin my singles in S because
I
I'm
love it.
weird.
No, well, that's not weird. What Katie actually means, no, okay, she is weird, but we love her for that reason. But the majority of U.S. spinners do spin Z and ply S. But I don't think that that's for any reason other than that, a lot of the spinning teachers in the country spin Z and ply S. It doesn't matter. I think we talked about that last week. You can spin any direction you want to spin. And, well, okay, you've got two choices. You can go counterclockwise or clockwise, but you can choose either one. For most uses, it doesn't matter. Occasionally it will, but for most uses, it doesn't matter. The just important part is that you spin your singles one way and you ply them the other direction.
I thought that was nice that she's put that in there. One of the other things I noticed when she was that stuck out to me was measuring the wraps per inch and measuring your twist. And so using a wraps per inch tool. And I had Dean bring me one a while ago.
Oh,
That was
good.
what he handed me.
Oh,
That was
that's
my
a good
yarn.
Yep.
And this is the one from Katrinkles.
Okay. You guys
And
sell
this one
those?
is for yarn.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
that's a nice
We
one.
have the singles one too. So the singles
Okay.
one is much skinnier,
So
but
that's for plied yarn.
this is a good for finished.
Okay.
And she talks about, so if I take this out here, it's going to twist because it's been stored twist for a while. But if I take and find the end, so she says to roll, not wrap, right? So if I take my wraps per inch tool and I'm going to roll it, I'm assuming that's what she means, right?
I think that's right. What you're shooting for is something that doesn't yet. Ideally, you are neither twisting your yarn when you're testing the wraps per inch, the WPI, nor overlapping the wraps.
Correct.
Because both of those things are going to affect the count, the WPI count.
Let's see if I can do this now. This is going to be very entertaining.
Yep.
Because, yeah.
And why do we care? Why do we care about wraps per inch? Yeah.
Why do we care about wraps per inch? I feel like if you ever want to use the yarn for some reason, it's helpful to know a general size. Because you may not want to pick out a pattern for a bulky yarn.
Right.
When you've made a light fingering.
Right. Unless you want to carry 3 strands of it along at the same time, which.
Correct. And that's no fun unless you're wanting to do that. And usually when we're doing that, we're wanting to have we're wanting to do something with it, like produce some specific texture. So we're not always going to hold one strand. We're going to hold multiple strands of something of different fibers.
Right.
There's lots of really great patterns out there.
Beaded strands and 2 unbeaded strands or something like that. Yeah.
So, yes. And then, so if I keep rolling this, I think I'm being successful. It seems to be successful.
All right, well, let's see it.
It does not seem to be twisting, adding more twist.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, very nice.
I could be.
So how many wraps per inch are you getting there?
So I can fit one more wrap, and I think but I'm out of yarn to pull. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. Let me find my hammer.
Yep.
So 10.
So
you can see that they're next to each other, but they're not overlapping.
Yep.
And I can fit one more here. Might be able to get it.
So where does 10 or 11 put us in terms of yarn weight on that?
That is going to be a DK, which is actually what I was going for with this one.
See, that works out well.
This is a 3-ply, that makes sense. Because I typically spin, my default spinning is a light fingering, a very light fingering. And so if I'm doing light fingering, then that means that I am 3-ply should be about a DK.
Which is a useful thing to know about yourself as a spinner. It's something that if you're starting your spinning journey, you're not going to know. But if you do any significant amount of spinning, I mean, like if you spin enough to produce a skein of yarn, you're going to start to get a sense of what I think of it as being your TV knitting spinning. Somebody introduced me to the idea of TV knitting, which is a pattern that you've made often enough that you don't even really have to pay any attention to the pattern. Your fingers kind of do what they do, and you look down at the end of the episode of the Great British Bake Off that you're watching. Maybe that's just me, and there you are. You have the hat or the scarf or the cowl that you were working on. You're going to have TV knitting spinning, where mine. Katie said hers is basically light fingering. Mine is basically a heavy sport. Which is sort of funny to me because when I got into spinning, I thought, well, what I really want to do is I really want to make, I want to make chunky, funky stuff. And which every person I've ever taught spinning, that 9 times out of 10 people are like, okay, this is driving me nuts. It's so uneven. Yeah, good. See, this is beautiful yarn. I love this yarn. Very much a thick and thin yarn. And people be learning to spin and be like, okay, this is driving me nuts. I want consistent. I want even. And I look at them and I say, you are not going to believe me when I tell you this. I did not believe the people who told me this. Fact of the matter is, once spinning clicks in your head, and you've got your kind of consistent speed, then when you decide you want that beautiful thick and thin, man, you're going to have to work really hard to replicate that. So, enjoy this period of time where that's kind of naturally how you spin. One of the things I'm psyched about with this book is, I've only made 2-ply yarns and chain plied yarns. Not only have I not done a lot of the art that sort of bobbles and coils, but I also, I found myself wondering, all right, well, how do you balance it if you're making trying to think what the word of it is, and I've lost it. There's a kind of yarn where you take a 2-ply and you ply something else around it once you've made the 2-ply. How in the world do you keep that balanced, right? I spun my singles. I spun all 3 of my singles. I plied 2 of them together. Now I'm going to twist them up again with something else. How does that not come out to be either an over twisted mess or an under twisted mess? I'm psyched to learn. I'm assuming
I really have no idea.
I don't either. That's one of the things I'm really excited about this book. The other thing she talks about, and I will be real upfront about this part of the book, she also talks about scouring fleece, acquiring and scouring fleece. And if that is something that you think you would find fun, I definitely encourage you to do it. Look at fiber festivals in your area or that you can get to. Not every fiber festival has an animal section. I remember somebody coming up to me a couple of years ago at a show that doesn't. And he said, where are the animals? In this very angry voice. And I was like, okay, sir, I'm in the middle of class, but let me see if I can help you. He said, where are the animals? I said, I'm not sure we have any. He said, my girlfriend told me there would be animals. That's how she got here. I don't do yarn. I do animals. It's like, well, I think there are alpaca outside being sheared. And he's like, I just saw the last alpaca being sheared and they left. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm so sorry, sir. So, if you're looking for animals, do check the festival to see if they have animals, right? But beyond that, many of the shows that I do, many of the shows that Katie and Dean do have they have a fleece sale. Sometimes they have a fleece judging. Sometimes there are vendors who are selling fleece out of their booth in a marketplace, even if there's no actual fleece sale. If that is something that you think would float your boat, I highly recommend doing some digging, doing some research, figuring out, how to find a fleece that's in good shape, how to find a fleece that has been prepared enough that you do not have to take it home and do an enormous amount of work like outside. And then just do some research on how you want to clean it. She has, Sarah Anderson's got a very specific way that she cleans fleece, which I thought
we're going to do that one in 2 weeks.
Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. In 2 weeks. Getting ahead of myself. Never mind. Anyway, forget I said any of that. Ignore all of that.
That's okay. We're going to talk some more about it, but she does start to mention it at this point. So it is something to start thinking about if that is something that interests you in like learning how to do that. So what we would love to see this week is show us some of your singles and tell us whether you like to twist, what your default weight is, and what is your favorite twist?
Yep.
SZ. Are you an obtuse? Are you an acute? What do you like?
Acute. I like it. I'm also
curious, let us know.
What do people like to spin? And you may not know because you may be just starting out, but what feels good to you, right? Because it's important when you're spinning, especially when you're learning, to spin something you like the hand of as you're spinning it. What do you like to spin? If you say wool, that is an acceptably smart-ass answer. But if you know a breed or a cross that you like, I'm always curious to know that.
So I will be working with Fairhaven Farm.
Ooh, I know them.
They have all kinds of fabulous. These are the ends of the bumps that they had done, and so I have all of it for sale. Ooh. And so I need to spin some of it up. And so it's all like 98% alpaca and sparkle. So
Cool.
That's what I'll be working on.
Awesome. And I am not spinning right now at the moment because my hands are not working very well. When I can get them to work, I will be working on a shop sample of a product that I have that is I take a 4-ounce braid and split it in half, and half of it gets dyed in a solid and half of it gets dyed in some multis. And I have one of those in a Targi silk bamboo blend that I really like.
That's
And
what
one of them
mine is
in, yes, that one, exactly. Different color, but same blend. And one of them in a Shanico tweed. Shanico is a merino rambouillet, some Corriedale in there, sometimes cross, that is super soft and lovely to spin. So that's what I plan to be working on.
All right. So
Yay.
for next week, we are going to be talking about drafting techniques.
Yep.
And those are pages 50 through 57. We'll meet next Tuesday evening. So come join us, 7 p.m. Central. We'll be right here live on all of these platforms you see in front of you, wherever you're watching us now.
Wherever those platforms
Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, the other Facebook, the other Instagram, and we'll probably get Q on YouTube at some point too.
Yeah, I gotta get on YouTube.
Q and I might be in the same room next week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hopefully, yeah, that's next week.
Not keep doing that light to you, like you're. Oh yeah, although I thought you meant we'll be in the same room. I thought you meant you'll be in the same room you're in now, and I was like, I don't know how you're going to pull that off because you're supposed to be in my neck of the woods on Wednesday. But whatever.
No.
So yeah,
I'm also sitting in a parking lot right now. I mean, that's my fun lighting situation.
Is that why the light keeps doing this thing that makes you look like you're a prisoner somewhere?
Yeah, there's a car directly across me that has their lights on. What pages? Pages 50 through 57. I am posting it right now, Jazz.
Thank you for doing that.
Posted on all the things.
Posted. Yeah, the section on drafting techniques literally says drafting techniques to start. It's right after the part on using a drum carder. So yay! I'm super excited. Hey! All right, peeps, spin on, and we will talk to you guys soon, yeah?
Q, don't log off. I'll be right back.
I will not log off. I wouldn't dare log off.
We will see all of you next week, guys. Bye. Happy spinning. Bye.